been using Opera on desktop for a while now, and in my opinion,
it is the perfect
it's
browser
still
for
the best
gamers,
browser
students,
that I've ever
web,
used.
and high-end
Not only is it
PCs.
really fast and
Stop! I have seen so many YouTubers sponsored by this crappy browser, and I'm tired of it! There is just no way that every single one of these YouTubers that swear by Opera on their life are legitimately using it every single day. Now, I want to start by saying that I really tried, y'all. I know you all look at me as this little hater goblin running around like, this is stupid. That's stupid. Skibbity toilet. But that's not me, okay? I mean, seriously, am I ever gonna escape the goblin allegations? Basically, what I'm trying to say is I didn't download Opera with this hypercritical eye, inspecting every single minor little flaw like one of those dudes that look at diamonds with the weird little monocle thing. No, I entered this with an open mind, and actually I wasn't even thinking about making a video about it until I saw just how bad it really is. But hey, let's do our best to start off on a positive note here. What stood out to me about Opera? What did I like about it? Well, I like the fact that they have a VPN built into the browser itself, and I did get some pretty solid use out of it, except I accidentally paid $300 for a 6-month NordVPN subscription a while back, so I'm pretty set on that note, actually. Especially when I realized that there really isn't any reason to use Opera's built-in VPN over Nord, other than the 0.02 calories that it saves me to drag my finger over here versus over here. I like that there's an AI chatbot built into the sidebar right here, and it actually did come in handy a few times. Whenever I needed to rephrase a sentence that sounded a little weird, or if I had kind of a vague question that I didn't really feel like Google searching, but I would always check the source. If you use AI like this, always check the source. Except at one point the chatbot just like stopped working. I got this little notice that I had to sign into Opera to use it. So I would click, okay, get started, let's sign in. And then it would say, oh, you're already signed into Opera. I was like, bet. I go back to the chatbot and it still won't let me do it. Every time I click get started, it just takes me to the sign in screen. I don't understand. Eventually it did end up fixing itself, but I was already on my way to go uninstall the browser anyway. And honestly, I can't say that I'm that upset that now I have to do all of my own research and rephrase all my sentences myself instead of just getting an AI to do it.
I also like that they had the option to browse the internet with different services such as DuckDuckGo, which is supposed to be truly anonymous, which if you didn't know, even if you search in incognito, they still track all your information, you dirty little slut.
I also liked the layout and the look of it all, but that's kind of the least important thing about a browser. Like, it needs to work, you know, which Opera just doesn't. So yes, looking back on it, every single one of these good things was actually just a bad thing in disguise, and I haven't even touched on the actual bad things. Now I know this is the part you were all waiting for, so I'm gonna go ahead and do my plugs while I have your attention. You want some Minecraft parkour on the screen right here? You children, you happy now? Make sure you follow my Instagram and my TikTok. Both are linked in the description. I do post on TikTok at least once a day. Instagram, I've kind of been lacking, but you should follow anyway, because sometimes I'll post important channel updates or funny memes on my story, stuff like that. If you really FW me as a person, then you can subscribe to my Patreon, also linked down below, for $1, $5, or $10 a month, and my Cash App is down there as well if you don't feel like committing to a monthly donation. Thank you for taking the time to listen, even if you have no intention of looking at this mug ever again. Speaking of mugs, I dropped my mug the other day, and it made a very loud crash sound. You know what else crashes constantly? Opera GX. But it's one of those weird crashes where something goes kind of wrong in the coding, I guess. I don't know, I'm not a browser designer, but it leads to this snowball effect where the browser just kind of gets worse and worse and less usable until it just stops working altogether. It would always start out with when you right click on something to either open in a new tab or save image as, which I do a lot, by the way. That little pop-up menu that's supposed to come up just would never show up. Then pages stop responding as quickly, then they just stop responding altogether until eventually it freezes and then crashes. It was like clockwork. Now I'm lazy enough that this really is not that big of a deal for me. Like, so what? I have to force quit and then restart. It's really not that deep. But it's the fact that every time this happens, I not only get completely signed out of Opera, but every single thing that I have ever signed into on Opera. And if I'm too lazy for a browser constantly crashing on me to be enough to delete the browser and go back to Chrome, you better believe that I was pissed that now I have to go in and sign into everything: YouTube, Instagram, Netflix, TikTok, even Google, which, side note, I still find myself ending up using Google 90% of the time just in Opera. So like, what's even the point? And And when I watch YouTube, I will shamelessly line up 20, 30 videos in my queue and spend so much time meticulously crafting my queue to be perfect and watch the videos slowly throughout the day. So obviously, every time that this crash would happen, I would get completely signed out of my account and I would lose my queue. It was like, oh my God, that scene in movies where you drop down to your knees in the rain and you're looking up and you're like, no! Yeah, it was pretty bad. I'm kind of going through some growing pains with my camera because it just stopped recording in the middle of while I was talking. Let's talk about the ad blocker, if you can even really call it that. This thing blocks maybe 10% of ads, if even. I still go to news websites and there's still ads everywhere. Google still shows me so many sponsored results when that's not what I want to see. I want to see the stuff that is not getting paid to get to the top, you know? Does that make me so evil? This whole thing really just leaves me wondering if they just put a button called ad blocker up there that doesn't actually do anything, and I don't understand. The VPN sucks. When I do use Nord, sometimes I'll get little spikes of low connectivity, but when I'm using Opera's built-in browser VPN, I'm spending longer staring at the buffering screen than I actually spend on the website that I was trying to get to in the first place. There's also this Opera forums page that's available through your account, and it's so funny scrolling through this because it's just chock full of people in denial about how bad Opera actually is as a browser. They're asking how to fix all of the exact same issues that I'm having, but they always end it off with, I love Opera, but how am I supposed to fix this? And their question never gets answered. Opera's response team is so bad because they are just as confused about these issues as we all are. It leaves you wondering how a service like Opera gets enough traction and monetization to continue to pay every single B-list YouTuber to promote their crappy service. For example, Penguin Z0 has an Opera sponsorship, and sometimes he'll even fold on stream and end up using Chrome by mistake. Roll the clip.
Because I only recently just checked this out. This is alarming. So I've been playing with an AI music creator called Suno, and it is making jams that I would have no idea is AI.
There's just no way that he uses Opera on and off of stream because there's just no reason to use Opera over whatever web service you're already using.
Also just got an update to its Lucid mode. With just a click of a button, it's possible to immediately enhance any video, and there's also a button to easily see a before and after.
Now let's talk about this enhance feature. Opera claims to have a button that automatically makes the quality of any video that you're watching better, and it leaves you wondering, what is the stereotypical zoom, enhance, zoom, enhance? Sir, you're looking at the pores on his nose. Zoom, enhance. No, literally all it does is raise the sharpness of an image, which might look like better quality at first, but the longer you look at it, the more you realize it just kind of looks grainy and crappy. But it's one of those BS marketing tactics that makes people go, wow, their technology is so advanced. Maybe I'll give it a try. No, Opera is literally the gilded egg of web browsers. And that reference might have gone over some of y'all's heads. But hey, seriously guys, don't just take my word for it. Something I strongly advocate for is forming your own opinions based on your own experiences and not just claiming an opinion that some guy on YouTube had. Because who knows, maybe you won't have any of the issues that I had. And my experience was actually pretty enjoyable up until I started having these issues. I would strongly recommend going to your favorite YouTuber that is sponsored by them and clicking on their link in the description so that even if you do hate it, at least they get a little cut from it. Join me on the road to 10,000 subscribers by 2026, which if I don't reach, I will quit YouTube forever. Patreon, Instagram, TikTok, link is in the description. Don't forget to subscribe and have a wonderful day, everybody.